The vast emptiness of space stretched before the bridge of the Earth defense vessel Starlight. Commander Alice Martinez stood at her post, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing Saturn's rings glittering in the distance. The year 2157 had begun peacefully enough, but that peace was about to shatter. "Commander, I'm picking up unusual energy signatures," said Lieutenant Paul Green, his fingers dancing across the sensor controls. "They're unlike anything in our database." Martinez leaned forward, her heart rate quickening. After 15 years in the United Defense Force, she had learned to trust her instincts. Something wasn't right. "Show me the readings." The holographic display shifted, revealing multiple red dots approaching from beyond Neptune's orbit. The objects were moving at speeds that defied Earth's current technology. "Send the data to Earth Command," Martinez ordered, "and get me Admiral Collins." Minutes later, Admiral Peter Collins's weathered face appeared on the main screen. His expression was grim. "Commander Martinez, we're picking up similar readings across all outer system sensors. This isn't a glitch." Before Martinez could respond, the ship's communications officer, Susan White, called out, "Commander, we're receiving a transmission. It's not using any known frequency." "Put it through," Martinez ordered, straightening her uniform. The bridge speakers crackled to life with a voice that sounded both mechanical and alien. "Attention primitive species. This is High Commander Zex of the Zoraxian Empire. Your solar system is now under our control. Surrender immediately or face extinction." The bridge crew fell silent. Martinez exchanged looks with Admiral Collins on the screen. Humanity had long debated whether they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it wasn't friendly. "Admiral, your orders?" Martinez asked, keeping her voice steady. Collins's jaw tightened. "We don't surrender to bullies, Commander. All ships, battle stations. This is not a drill." The next hours were a blur of activity. The United Defense Force mobilized every available ship. The lunar bases activated their defense systems, and Mars Colony went into lockdown. Earth's politicians argued about how to respond, but the military knew there was only one choice: fight. Lieutenant John Baker, stationed aboard the experimental stealth ship Shadowhawk, watched the alien fleet emerge from faster-than-light travel. The Zoraxian ships were massive, their dark hulls covered in what looked like crystalline growths. They made Earth's largest vessels look like toys in comparison. "All ships, maintain formation." Admiral Collins's voice came through the fleet-wide channel. "Remember your training. We're fighting for Earth today." The first battle began near Saturn's rings. The Zoraxian ships opened fire with weapons that turned the vacuum of space into streaks of purple light. Earth's ships responded with everything they had: railguns, plasma torpedoes, and nuclear warheads. Baker, watching from his stealth position, noticed something odd. "Captain," he called to his superior, "their shields flicker when they fire their main weapons. There's a pattern to it." Captain Linda Ross moved to his station. "Record everything, Lieutenant. Any weakness could be crucial." The battle quickly turned into a nightmare. Earth ships exploded one after another, their best weapons barely scratching the alien shields. The Zoraxians were toying with them, broadcasting taunts about human inferiority between attacks. Commander Martinez's ship, the Starlight, took heavy damage but managed to stay in the fight. "Keep firing," she ordered as her bridge filled with smoke. "Target their weapon ports when they're charging." Baker's observation proved valuable. When ships managed to hit the Zoraxians during their weapons discharge, their shields showed weakness. It wasn't enough to turn the tide, but it gave humanity hope. Admiral Collins ordered a strategic retreat, pulling the remaining fleet back to Mars orbit. The Zoraxians didn't pursue immediately, confident in their superiority. In the aftermath, Earth's leaders gathered in an emergency session. The casualty reports were devastating. 30% of Earth's space fleet destroyed in a single engagement. But humanity had learned valuable lessons. Lieutenant Baker's data became the focus of intense study. Engineer teams worked around the clock to understand the Zoraxian shield technology. Scientists analyzed every second of battle footage, looking for any advantage. Commander Martinez, her ship undergoing emergency repairs in Earth orbit, received new orders. The Starlight would lead a reconnaissance mission to gather more intelligence on the enemy fleet. "They think we're primitive," Martinez told her crew during a briefing. "They expect us to give up or die. But they don't understand humans. We don't quit. We adapt, we learn, and we fight back." The Zoraxians gave Earth 48 hours to surrender. They didn't understand that their ultimatum had the opposite effect. Instead of breaking humanity's spirit, it united Earth like never before. Old rivalries were set aside. Every nation pooled its resources and knowledge. Baker's stealth ship became the prototype for a new strategy. If humanity couldn't match the Zoraxians in direct combat, they would find another way to fight. Engineers worked to duplicate the stealth technology, while weapons specialists developed new arms specifically designed to exploit the shield weakness. As the deadline approached, Admiral Collins addressed the combined fleet. "Today, we face an enemy that believes they know everything about us. They think we're simple, predictable, and weak. They're wrong. We're human. We've survived everything our world has thrown at us, and we'll survive this. We'll show them what human persistence really means." The Zoraxians would soon learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or technology. It was their ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to fight with everything they had, no matter the odds. As Commander Martinez prepared her ship for the next battle, she looked at the Earth shining below. Everything they had ever known, everyone they had ever loved, was on that blue planet. They would protect it, no matter the cost. The first battle was lost, but the war was just beginning. Humanity would prove that being primitive didn't mean being helpless. The Zoraxians had made a critical mistake in underestimating human determination. It would be their first of many errors in the conflict that would become known as the Great Space War. Lieutenant Baker's discovery was just the beginning. Humanity would take every small advantage, every observed weakness, and turn them into opportunities. The question wasn't if they would win, but how long it would take them to learn enough to turn the tide. The next battle would be different. Humanity was ready to show the galaxy why you should never corner a species that had spent its entire history overcoming impossible odds. The war for Earth's survival had begun, and humanity was ready to fight. 2 weeks after the first battle, Chief Engineer Mary Thompson hadn't slept more than 4 hours a night. Her laboratory aboard the lunar base, Armstrong, was cluttered with holographic projections and dismantled shield generators. Coffee cups littered her desk, testament to her endless work hours. "I think I've got something," she muttered, studying the simulation results. The data from Lieutenant Baker's observations had given her an idea. If Zoraxian shields had a frequency pattern, maybe Earth's shields could learn to match and counter it. Down on Earth, Operation Phoenix was taking shape. Admiral Collins had reorganized Earth's remaining ships into smaller, more mobile strike groups. The old doctrine of large-scale fleet battles was dead. They needed a new way to fight. "We can't match their firepower," he explained to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. "So we'll hit them where they don't expect it. Multiple strikes, different locations, never staying still long enough to be caught." Commander Martinez received her new orders with a grim smile. Her ship, the Starlight, had been retrofitted with improved stealth systems based on the Shadowhawk's design. Her mission: take a small team behind enemy lines and gather intelligence on Zoraxian operations. "This is a volunteer mission only," she told her crew. "No one will think less of you for staying behind." Not a single crew member left. They all knew the stakes. The Starlight slipped past the Zoraxian patrol lines, using the rings of Saturn for cover. Lieutenant Betty Mills, their navigation officer, had plotted a course through the debris field that would mask their engine signature. "Contact," whispered Communications Officer White, picking up alien transmissions, multiple frequencies. Martinez leaned forward in her command chair. "Record everything. Let's see what our unwelcome guests are saying to each other. What they discovered was shocking. The Zoraxians weren't just fighting Earth. They had an empire spanning dozens of star systems. Holographic maps showed multiple species under their control, all conquered through the same pattern. Overwhelming force, demands for surrender, then either submission or extinction. "They're bullies," Martine said during the encrypted transmission to Earth Command. They'd done this before, but they've never faced humanity. Back at the lunar base, Mary Thompson's breakthrough came at 3 a.m. Earth time. She nearly knocked over her last coffee cup in excitement as she ran to the communication center. "The shields," she exclaimed to the bewildered communication officer. "They're not just energy barriers, they're adaptive. That's why they flicker during weapon discharge. They're reallocating power, learning from each hit. We can do the same thing." The news spread quickly through Earth's command structure. Thompson's adaptive shield technology wasn't as powerful as the Zoraxian version, but it would learn and improve with each battle. It was exactly the kind of advantage humanity needed. Commander Martinez's mission revealed more crucial information. Some of the conquered species had fought back using guerrilla tactics, achieving temporary successes before being overwhelmed. But none of them had ever shared information or worked together. They had fought alone, and they had fallen alone. That's their weakness, Admiral Collins declared during a strategy session. They keep their conquered subjects isolated. They don't expect cooperation. Earth's first major victory came 3 weeks after Martinez's discovery. A Zoraxian supply fleet, moving between their forward bases, found itself ambushed by Earth ships hiding in a debris field. The new adaptive shields absorbed the initial Zoraxian response, learning and strengthening with each hit. Captain Linda Russ, commanding one of the attack groups, watched in satisfaction as her ship's coordinated fire took down the Zoraxian cruiser. "Keep moving," she ordered. "Don't give them a static target." The battle ended with 3 Zoraxian ships destroyed and the rest retreating in disorder. The cost had been high. 2 Earth ships lost, but they had proven that humanity could fight back effectively. The victory had another unexpected effect. Martinez's stealth ship picked up transmissions from other subjugated species. They were watching, and they were beginning to hope. Mary Thompson's team worked to improve the adaptive shields further. Each battle provided new data, new patterns to analyze and counter. The technology was spreading through Earth's fleet, making each ship more resilient than the last. "The key is learning," Thompson explained to Admiral Collins during a briefing. "Our shields don't just block energy. They understand it, adapt to it, just like humans do." The Zoraxians responded with increased aggression, but their tactics remained rigid, predictable. They couldn't understand why their usual strategy of overwhelming force wasn't working. Their propaganda broadcasts became more frequent, filled with threats and warnings. Commander Martinez's ship, continuing its covert operations, made contact with resistance movements on occupied worlds. The Starlight's crew taught them about Earth's defensive innovations, while learning about Zoraxian weaknesses from those who had lived under their rule. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore," Martinez told her crew after one such meeting. "We're fighting for everyone who's ever been bullied by these tyrants." Operation Phoenix expanded its scope. Earth ships began hitting Zoraxian targets across the solar system, never staying in one place long enough to be caught. The adaptive shields grew more sophisticated with each engagement, frustrating Zoraxian attempts to overwhelm Earth's defenses. A month into the war, humanity had something the Zoraxians never expected: hope. They weren't just surviving. They were learning, adapting, and getting stronger. The enemy's technological advantage was shrinking as Earth's engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to close the gap. Mary Thompson's adaptive shield technology became the symbol of humanity's resistance. It represented everything the Zoraxians didn't understand about humans: their ability to learn, to adapt, to take a disadvantage, and turn it into strength. The war was far from over, but the tide was beginning to turn. Humanity had found its path to victory. not through overwhelming force, but through innovation, adaptation, and the unbreakable spirit that had taken them from stone tools to the stars. As Commander Martinez's ship slipped back into Earth space after another successful mission, she looked at her crew with pride. They were tired, stressed, but unbowed. They were human, and they would keep fighting until the end. The Zoraxians had made a fatal mistake. They had judged humanity by their technology, not their spirit. They were about to learn why that was a serious error. The human element was proving stronger than any alien technology. The real war was just beginning. Dr. Samuel Wright stared at the quantum particle readings dancing across his laboratory screen. After 3 months of war with the Zoraxians, humanity needed more than just defensive capabilities. They needed a weapon that could change the game. "The particles are stable," he announced to his team at the underground Nevada research facility. "We can control the quantum field disruption. This isn't just a theory anymore." The breakthrough came from studying Zoraxian weapon signatures. Their advanced technology relied heavily on quantum-level engineering. Wright's team had found a way to turn that against them. Meanwhile, Commander Martinez's diplomatic efforts had borne fruit. Representatives from 3 alien species, all former victims of Zoraxian aggression, arrived secretly on Earth. The meeting took place in a secure bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. Admiral Collins opened the historic session. "Welcome to Earth. We may come from different worlds, but we share a common enemy. Together, we can end Zoraxian tyranny." The aliens brought their own technological knowledge and battle experience. The Centaurians, insect-like beings, had expertise in faster-than-light travel. The crystalline Novarians understood energy weapons better than anyone. The silicon-based Drell had centuries of experience in space warfare. Captain Lisa Howard led the first major test of Dr. Wright's quantum weaponry. Her ship, the Starcaster, approached a Zoraxian patrol near Jupiter's moons. The enemy vessels detected her and moved to attack. "Quantum disruptors online," her weapons officer reported. "Target locked." The new weapon fired, its beam invisible to normal sensors. The effect, however, was dramatic. The Zoraxian ship's shields flickered and died, its quantum-based systems failing completely. "All ships, open fire," Howard ordered. Traditional weapons tore into the defenseless vessel, reducing it to debris in seconds. The Battle of Jupiter's moons became a turning point. Earth ships, equipped with both adaptive shields and quantum disruptors, engaged the largest Zoraxian fleet yet seen in the solar system. The enemy's technological superiority meant nothing when their quantum systems could be shut down at will. Admiral Collins watched the tactical display from his command center as Earth forces achieved their first decisive victory. 30 Zoraxian ships destroyed or disabled, with only 5 human vessels lost. The alien allies were amazed. The Novarian ambassador, his crystalline form glowing with excitement, spoke for all of them. "In all our centuries of resistance, we never managed what you've done in months." Dr. Wright's team worked to improve the quantum weapons further. Each success provided new data, new possibilities. The Zoraxians tried to adapt, but they had built their entire technology base on quantum engineering. They couldn't simply abandon it. Commander Martinez found herself leading the newly formed Alliance fleet. Human ships now fought alongside vessels from other resistant species, sharing tactics and technology. The Zoraxians had never faced such cooperation between their victims before. "They don't understand unity," Martins explained during a strategy session. "Their empire is built on domination, not cooperation. That's why they can't adapt to what we're doing." The war spread beyond the solar system. Alliance ships struck at Zoraxian bases in nearby star systems, liberating conquered worlds. Each victory brought more allies, more resources, more knowledge to share. Captain Howard's tactics became legendary among the Alliance forces. Her method of combining quantum disruption with conventional weapons proved devastating. The Zoraxians began to fear the sight of human ships. "The key is unpredictability," she explained to a group of alien commanders. "Humans are adaptable. We change our tactics, try new things. The Zoraxians always expect us to fight like they do. The Battle of Europa showed just how far humanity had come. A Zoraxian fleet twice the size of the human forces arrived to retake the Jupiter system. 3 months ago, such odds would have meant certain defeat. Now things were different. Alliance ships moved in complex patterns developed by combining tactics from 5 different species. Quantum disruptors fired from multiple angles, creating zones where Zoraxian technology simply stopped working. They're breaking formation. Lieutenant Baker reported from his stealth ship. Their command structure is falling apart. The Zoraxian retreat turned into a rout. Their mighty ships, once seemingly invincible, fled from the combined power of the Alliance fleet. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of surviving, but of leading the fight against a galactic empire. Dr. Wright's quantum technology spread through the Alliance. Combined with Mary Thompson's adaptive shields and the tactical innovations of commanders like Howard and Martinez, it created a fighting force unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The Zoraxians made desperate attempts to regain their advantage. They launched surprise attacks, tried new weapons, even attempted to negotiate separate pieces with different species. Nothing worked. They still don't get it. Admiral Collins told his staff. They think this is about technology or numbers. It's about the human spirit, about working together, about never giving up. Commander Martinez's intelligence network, now spanning several star systems, brought crucial information. The Zoraxian Empire was showing signs of internal strain. Some of their oldest conquests were rising in rebellion, inspired by Earth's example. The war wasn't over, but everyone could sense the change. Humanity had accomplished something remarkable. In just 3 months, they had gone from nearly defenseless victims to leading an alliance that threatened the greatest empire in known space. As Earth's forces prepared for their next major offensive, Dr. Wright gathered his team for a new project. The quantum disruptors were just the beginning. Humanity's gift for innovation, combined with the knowledge of their alien allies, would create technologies the Zoraxians couldn't imagine. The turning point had come. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading the way. The Zoraxians had wanted to add Earth to their collection of conquered worlds. Instead, they had awakened a force that would bring their empire crashing down. Admiral Peter Collins stood on the bridge of Earth's newest flagship, the Stellar Dawn, watching as the combined fleet prepared for their biggest operation yet. After 4 months of war, it was time to take the fight into Zoraxian territory. All ships report ready, his executive officer announced. The fleet was massive. Earth vessels flying alongside ships from a dozen liberated worlds. Each one carried Dr. Wright's quantum disruptors and Thompson's adaptive shields. Send the signal, Collins ordered. Operation Liberation begins now. Lieutenant John Baker's stealth tactics had become standard training for all Alliance ships. The fleet split into smaller groups, using asteroids and space debris for cover as they approached the first Zoraxian stronghold. The enemy had fortified their border systems heavily. Massive space stations bristled with weapons, while patrol fleets moved in regular patterns. 6 months ago, such defenses would have seemed impossible to overcome. They still think like conquerors, Captain Lisa Howard observed from her command chair. They build walls and throw armies at problems. They never learn to think differently. The first strike caught the Zoraxians completely off guard. Alliance ships appeared from multiple directions, their quantum disruptors shutting down defense systems before the enemy could respond. Howard's battle group led the charge, her crews executing complex maneuvers that the rigid Zoraxian commanders couldn't predict. Status report, Collins called as the battle unfolded. 3 enemy stations disabled, came the response. Their fleet is in disarray. No Alliance ships lost. The liberation of the border system took less than 6 hours. As Alliance forces secured their position, refugees from nearby worlds began arriving. They brought stories of Zoraxian brutality and valuable intelligence about enemy movements. Commander Alice Martinez coordinated with their new allies. Each system we free gives us more support, she explained to Collins. The Zoraxians spent centuries building fear. Now that fear is turning into anger. Earth's technology continued to advance. The coalition of scientists from multiple species worked together, combining their knowledge in ways the Zoraxians never imagined possible. Dr. Wright's quantum weapons evolved, becoming more efficient and powerful. The second system fell within a week. This time, the Zoraxians were prepared, but it didn't help them. Alliance ships moved like ghosts through their defenses, striking from unexpected angles, disappearing before the enemy could respond. They're learning, Baker warned during a strategy session. Slowly, but they are. We need to keep changing our tactics. The Alliance adapted. Each battle group developed its own style, making it impossible for the Zoraxians to predict where or how they would strike. Earth ships led the way, demonstrating the flexibility and creativity that had become humanity's trademark. The third major engagement proved the toughest. The Zoraxians had assembled a massive fleet, hoping to crush the Alliance advance with sheer numbers. The battle lasted 3 days, stretching across an entire star system. Howard's command ship took heavy damage but kept fighting. "Keep moving," she ordered as her crew worked to repair systems mid-battle. "Don't give them a static target." The Alliance victory was decisive. The Zoraxian fleet broke apart, retreating in disorder. Scan data showed their quantum-based technology was becoming less effective as they tried to adapt it against the Alliance weapons. They built their empire on a single type of technology, Dr. Wright explained during the post-battle briefing. They never considered what would happen if someone found a way to counter it. Earth's reputation grew with each victory. Species that had lived under Zoraxian rule for generations looked to humans for leadership. The Alliance expanded, bringing in new members who contributed their own unique skills and technologies. Martinez's intelligence network reported growing unrest throughout Zoraxian space. Their rigid society was struggling to cope with repeated defeats. Some of their oldest colonies were openly rebelling. Their entire empire is based on the myth of their superiority, Collins told his officers. "We're not just defeating their fleets, we're destroying their foundation." The counter-offensive continued. System after system fell to Alliance forces. Earth ships led the charge, but now they fought alongside allies who had their own scores to settle with the Zoraxians. Mary Thompson's adaptive shield technology proved crucial in the deeper battles. The shields learned from each engagement, becoming stronger against Zoraxian weapons. Combined with quantum disruptors, they made Alliance ships nearly invincible. "The strength of the Alliance isn't just our weapons," Howard said during a medal ceremony. "It's our ability to work together, to combine our different strengths." The Zoraxians attempted to negotiate from a position of strength, offering to recognize Earth's independence in exchange for an end to the offensive. Collins's response was brief. "We're not fighting for Earth alone anymore." As the Alliance pushed deeper into enemy territory, they discovered the true extent of Zoraxian control. Hundreds of worlds had suffered under their rule, their populations forced to serve the Empire's needs. Each liberated planet joined the Alliance, adding their knowledge and resources to the cause. The counter-offensive grew stronger with each victory, while the Zoraxians grew weaker. Martinez's scouts finally located something crucial: the path to the Zoraxian home systems. The Empire's heart was more heavily defended than anything they'd faced, but now they knew where to strike. "We're not just fighting a war," Collins told his fleet. "We're reshaping the galaxy. After this, no species will ever again believe they have the right to dominate others." The counteroffensive had become a revolution. Earth led the way, showing the galaxy that true strength came from cooperation and adaptation, not domination and fear. As Alliance forces prepared for their final push toward the Zoraxian core worlds, humanity had already won something more valuable than any military victory: the respect and gratitude of a galaxy learning to be free. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as the fleet moved forward, carrying the hopes of countless worlds toward a future where no empire would dare to claim superiority over others. The massive Alliance fleet gathered at the edge of Zoraxian core space. After 6 months of war, the final battle was about to begin. Admiral Collins looked at the tactical display, showing hundreds of ships from 24 species, all united under Earth's leadership. "This is what they never expected," he said to his command staff. "Not our weapons or tactics, but our ability to bring people together." Dr. Wright's latest quantum disruptors had been installed on every ship. The weapons could now shut down Zoraxian technology across entire sectors of space. On the science vessel horizon, he monitored the final calibrations. "Remember," he told the Alliance weapons officers, "their entire civilization depends on quantum engineering. When we attack their home systems, we're not just fighting their military. We're threatening their way of life." Captain Lisa Howard led the first wave. Her battle group slipped past the outer defenses using stealth technology based on Baker's original designs. The Zoraxian home fleet was massive, but they still hadn't learned to watch for ships moving in unusual ways. "All ships, execute Plan Delta," Howard ordered. Her vessels split into smaller groups, attacking from multiple vectors. The quantum disruptors fired in a carefully planned sequence, creating waves of system failures across the enemy fleet. The Zoraxians fought back hard. Their home fleet included ships larger than anything seen before, armed with weapons that could tear through space itself. But they couldn't hit what they couldn't predict, and human tactics had become legendary for their unpredictability. Commander Martinez's intelligence ships provided real-time updates on enemy movements. "They're falling back to preset positions," she reported. "They're still fighting by the book, even now." The battle for the first core system lasted 2 days. Alliance ships struck and vanished, never staying still long enough to be targeted. The Zoraxian command structure, rigid and hierarchical, couldn't adapt fast enough to the constantly changing attacks. "Their entire society is built on order and control," Collins observed as he watched the enemy formations break apart. "They don't know how to handle chaos." Mary Thompson's adaptive shields proved their worth again and again. Each Zoraxian attack made them stronger, while Dr. Wright's quantum disruptors systematically shut down the enemy's defenses. "Keep pressing," Howard urged as her ships pushed toward the Zoraxian command stations. "Don't give them time to regroup." The Alliance's victory in the first core system sent shockwaves through the Empire. Worlds that had been under Zoraxian control for centuries rose in rebellion. Their fleet had to split its forces, trying to maintain control while defending their home territory. Martinez's scouts located the Zoraxian Central Command, a massive space station orbiting their home world. The station was their seat of government, the heart of their empire, and their most heavily defended position. "That's our target," Collins told the Alliance fleet. "Take that station, and the Empire falls." The final assault began at dawn, Earth time. Alliance ships appeared from all directions, their formation a complex dance of different tactics from a dozen worlds. Human vessels led each attack group, demonstrating the adaptability that had brought them so far. The Zoraxian homeworld's defenses were formidable. Entire rings of battle stations surrounded the planet, while energy fields strong enough to deflect asteroids protected key installations. But the Alliance had planned for this. Thompson's adaptive shields absorbed and learned from each new weapon, while Wright's quantum disruptors systematically dismantled the enemy's defenses. "They're launching their reserve fleet," Martins reported. "Everything they have left is coming at us." The space around the Zoraxian homeworld became a storm of energy weapons and quantum disruption fields. Ships from both sides fought at point-blank range, while stolen Zoraxian codes allowed Alliance forces to shut down defense systems one by one. Howard's command ship took heavy damage, but kept fighting. "Push forward," she ordered as her engineers worked to keep systems online. "We've come too far to stop now." The turning point came when Baker's stealth squadron reached the central command station. Using techniques perfected over months of warfare, they slipped through gaps in the defensive screen and launched precision strikes at key systems. Station defenses are failing, Baker reported. Their quantum grid is collapsing. Collins gave the order all Alliance ships had waited for. All forces converge on the central station. End this war. The Zoraxian leadership, faced with the complete failure of their technology and the rebellion of their subjects, finally recognized their defeat. Their surrender transmission was brief and formal, a final display of the rigid thinking that had led to their downfall. As Alliance forces secured the Zoraxian home system, the impact of their victory became clear. The largest empire in known space had fallen to a coalition led by a species they had dismissed as primitive just 6 months earlier. The galaxy is changing, Collins told the Alliance Council that formed in the aftermath. The age of empires is over. Now we build something new, together. Earth's leadership was acknowledged by all. Humanity had proven not just their military skill, but their ability to unite different species in a common cause. The adaptive shields and quantum disruptors were shared with all Alliance members, ensuring no single power could dominate the others. Martinez found herself heading a new intelligence service dedicated to preventing the rise of future empires. "We remember what it was like to be the underdog," she said. "We won't let anyone else face what we faced." Howard's tactics became standard training for the Alliance's combined fleet. The Zoraxians, under the terms of surrender, had to dismantle their military and accept monitors from other worlds. Dr. Wright and Mary Thompson led the effort to help former Zoraxian worlds adapt to life without quantum technology. "We're not here to destroy their civilization," Wright explained. "We're here to help them join the greater community." The final victory belonged not to humanity alone, but to all species who had dared to resist tyranny. Earth had shown the way, proving that determination, adaptability, and cooperation could overcome any technological advantage. As the Alliance fleet prepared to return home, Collins looked one last time at the Zoraxian homeworld. "They thought technology made them superior," he said quietly. "They never understood that the strongest force in the universe is people working together." The war was over. The age of empires had ended, and humanity had led the way to a new era of peace and cooperation among the stars.